Throwaway account here because some of my friends lurk around and I'm not ready for them to know all of this. My name's Mark, I'm 34, and my wife Samantha is 32. We've been married for 7 years, together for 10. For most of that time, I thought we had a pretty solid relationship. She's always been fiery, outspoken, kind of bossy in a way that I honestly used to find attractive. But lately, that fire has felt more like she's burning me down than warming me up. The first signs were small. She started criticizing me for things she never cared about before, how I folded laundry, how I chewed too loud, even how I breathed when I was too close. I'd ask if something was wrong, and she'd roll her eyes and say, "God, Mark, not everything is about you." At the same time, her phone became like a second limb. She'd carry it to the bathroom, flip it over when it buzzed, and once I caught her smiling at her screen and then sighing when she saw me looking. If I asked, she'd snap back with "Paranoid much? It's just work emails." I wanted to believe her. I really did. But deep down, I knew something had shifted. It wasn't just the phone. Samantha's entire routine changed overnight. She suddenly had late meetings 3 times a week, even though she works in HR and usually clocked out by 5 on the dot. She started going to the gym at 9 p.m., which made no sense since she hates working out and always said she preferred wine and Netflix over sweating. When I'd ask why the sudden change, she'd roll her eyes and say, "I'm trying to take care of myself, sorry if that bothers you." If I pressed, she'd get defensive, accusing me of not supporting her self-improvement. I told myself it was stress, maybe a mid-30s crisis thing. But the way she looked at me started to feel different. Detached. Like I was more of an annoying roommate than her husband. Even in bed, she started saying she was too tired or not in the mood. It was like living with a stranger. A cold, impatient stranger who didn't even bother hiding how irritated she was with me most of the time. And yet, I kept swallowing it down, telling myself marriage has ups and downs. But in my gut, I already knew. Something was coming. The night everything started unraveling, Samantha told me she was going out with her work girls for happy hour. Fine, nothing unusual there. But around 11 p.m., I realized she still wasn't home. No texts. No calls. I tried to shrug it off, but then I noticed her iPad sitting on the couch. Now, we've always had each other's passwords, nothing secretive about it. She'd even told me once, "If you ever feel the need to snoop, go ahead, you won't find anything." I'd never taken her up on it, until that night. When I opened the iPad, I saw her messages synced. The top thread wasn't with her coworkers. It was with someone saved under the name Vanessa. But as soon as I opened it, I knew Vanessa was not a Vanessa. The messages were graphic, flirty, inside jokes. And then I saw a photo, his photo. Some dude, shirtless, flexing in a bathroom mirror. My stomach dropped. I scrolled further and saw her replies, "Can't stop thinking about last night. Wish I could sneak out right now. Mark's such a bore, he has no clue." I just sat there frozen, iPad shaking in my hands. My chest hurt like someone was sitting on it. That was the moment I knew. I didn't confront her that night. I couldn't. I just sat there staring at those messages until my eyes burned. Around midnight, I heard her come in. She was humming, literally humming, like she'd just had the best night of her life. She didn't even check if I was awake. Just slipped into bed, smelling like perfume that wasn't hers and a faint trace of cologne that sure as hell wasn't mine. I lay there stiff as a board, every nerve in my body on fire. My mind was racing with every detail, the lies about her coworkers, the smirk she gave her phone, the excuses. All of it slammed together in my head, and for the first time, I realized how deep the betrayal ran. The next morning, she acted like nothing happened. She was making coffee, scrolling her phone, and snapped at me for leaving a spoon in the sink. I just stared at her, and she caught me. "Why are you looking at me like that?" she asked. I almost said it right then. I almost exploded. But I didn't. I told myself I needed to be smart. Careful. I needed to hear her lies come out of her own mouth before I burned everything down. So I stayed quiet. And I watched. It happened 2 nights later. She said she was going to the gym again, but this time I couldn't hold it in. As she was grabbing her keys, I just blurted, "Who's Vanessa?" She froze for half a second, then turned around with that fake little laugh she always uses when she's cornered. "What?" "Vanessa's a girl from work." "Why?" I didn't answer. I just held up the iPad. Her face drained of color, then immediately hardened. "Wow," she snapped, "so you're snooping through my stuff now?" "That's pathetic, Mark." I could feel my pulse pounding in my ears. "Don't play games with me." I saw everything. The texts. The pictures. The lies. How long has this been going on? She crossed her arms and rolled her eyes like I'd just accused her of stealing cookies. "Oh my God, you're being dramatic. He's just a friend. We flirt sometimes. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal." Those exact words. Something in me cracked right then. "You told him you can't stop thinking about last night, Samantha. Was that just a joke too?" For the first time, she looked rattled. But instead of apologizing, she doubled down. "You're boring, Mark. You never listen to me, you don't make me feel alive. So yeah, I found someone who does. Maybe if you actually paid attention, this wouldn't have happened." It felt like she'd stabbed me straight through the chest and twisted the knife. I swear, I just stood there staring at her, trying to process what she had said. I'm boring. After everything, 10 years together, moving across states for her job, holding her when her mom passed away, that was her excuse? My hands were shaking. I could barely get words out. "So it's my fault you cheated? That's what you're saying?" She didn't flinch. She just shrugged, leaning against the counter like she was the victim. "I wouldn't call it cheating. We're just connecting. You wouldn't understand. And honestly, you should be thanking me for staying this long, considering how dull you've gotten." I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw something. But all I managed was, "Do you even realize what you're doing to us?" Her eyes narrowed, and then she said it, the line that seared into my brain, "Us? Mark, there hasn't been an us for a long time. You're just too blind to see it." That was it. That was the moment I felt the floor fall out from under me. The woman I married, the one I thought had my back, was gone. Or maybe she'd been gone for a long time and I just refused to notice. That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat in the living room with the lights off, staring at the walls while Samantha snored in the bedroom like nothing had happened. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those texts, heard her voice saying there hasn't been in us for a long time. I kept asking myself, was I really that blind? That boring? My mind replayed every fight we ever had, every time she brushed me off, every moment I ignored my gut and told myself she loved me. Around 3 a.m., I got up and paced the kitchen. I wanted answers, more proof, something that would either make me crazy for doubting or confirm I wasn't losing it. I checked her gym bag, and sure enough, there weren't any sneakers inside. Just makeup, perfume, and a change of clothes. That hit harder than the texts. She wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. She was lying straight to my face, every single day, and then curling up beside me like it meant nothing. I remember whispering to myself, "She's still watching you, she knows you know, and that's why she's silent." It was like she enjoyed the power of making me squirm, waiting to see what I'd do next. 2 days later, I got my sudden event. Samantha told me she was going to the gym again. Same excuse, same bag, same tone. But this time, instead of sitting at home losing my mind, I followed her. I parked a block away from the gym and waited. She never went inside. Instead, I watched her cross the street, slip into a silver sedan, and lean over the center console to kiss the driver. Full-on, passionate, can't keep their hands off each other kiss. My chest felt like it caved in. I couldn't breathe. It was one thing to read texts, to see pictures, but this was flesh and blood, right in front of me. My wife, who swore she was just working on herself, was making out with some guy in a parking lot like a teenager. I don't even remember driving home. I just remember gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles went white, every muscle in my body shaking. By the time I got back, my head was spinning with two questions: who the hell was he, and how much of my life had been a lie? That night, she came home and gave me a lazy kiss on the cheek, like nothing happened. And I had to swallow every ounce of rage in me to keep from exploding right there in the kitchen. Because now, I wasn't just suspicious. I knew. The next evening, I couldn't hold it in anymore. She was scrolling her phone on the couch, smirking at whatever Vanessa was sending her, and I just said it. I followed you yesterday. Her head snapped up. For the first time, she actually looked caught off guard. Excuse me? I didn't blink. I watched you get into his car. I saw you kiss him. So don't you dare stand there and tell me it's just flirting. For a moment, silence. Then, like a switch flipped, she scoffed. Wow, Mark. You're stalking me now? That's creepy. Do you realize how pathetic that makes you look? I felt the blood drain from my face. Pathetic? I caught you cheating, Samantha. She crossed her arms, cold as ice. You think you caught me. But you don't know anything about him. He's a friend, he's been going through a hard time, and you're twisting it into something it's not because you're insecure. Unbelievable. She was actually standing there, bold-faced lying, when I'd literally seen her tongue down another man's throat. I almost laughed, but it came out more like a growl. You're unbelievable. Do you even hear yourself? Her only response? A smirk. A cold, satisfied smirk that told me she was enjoying this, watching me unravel. That smirk, it broke something in me. I felt this wave of anger and despair crash together so hard I thought I might actually black out. My voice cracked as I said, "You're standing here lying to my face when I literally saw you with him. Do you have no shame?" She rolled her eyes, like I was some annoying customer at a store. God, Mark, you're exhausting. This is exactly why I don't even bother talking to you anymore. You blow everything out of proportion. I slammed my hand on the table. The sound echoed through the house, and for a split second, she flinched, but then her expression hardened again. Don't you dare try to intimidate me. If you're unhappy, maybe you should just leave. Leave. After 10 years together, she tossed out leave like we were roommates fighting over dirty dishes. I remember pacing the living room, gripping my hair, feeling like I was coming apart at the seams. I couldn't eat. Couldn't think. The betrayal wasn't just an act, it was her attitude, the cruelty of watching her pretend I was crazy while she kept laughing in her head. That night, I didn't sleep in our bed. I crashed on the couch, staring at the ceiling, my whole world collapsing while she snored peacefully down the hall. The next morning, I finally got my answer to the question that had been haunting me: who is he? Her phone buzzed on the counter while she was in the shower. Normally, she guards that thing like it's Fort Knox, but this time she left it unlocked. A message popped up, "Same place tonight? Can't stop thinking about you." The name on the screen nearly made me choke. It wasn't some stranger. It was Eric. My so-called friend. The guy who helped me move furniture last summer, who came over to watch football games, who toasted at our wedding. My stomach turned so hard I thought I'd puke right there on the kitchen floor. I replayed every barbecue, every casual hangout, every smile he'd given me while he was probably texting my wife under the table. When Samantha came out, towel wrapped around her, I just stared at her. She noticed. "What?" she snapped. I wanted to scream it right then. It's Eric. My friend. My brother in everything but blood. But I didn't. Not yet. I wanted to see just how deep her lies would go if I pushed her. Because at that point, I realized something chilling: she wasn't just cheating. She was watching me unravel and enjoying every second of her silence. That evening, I couldn't hold it back anymore. She was getting dressed up, heels, makeup, the works, for her supposed yoga class. I leaned against the doorway and said, "So, you're meeting Eric tonight?" Her mascara wand froze mid-stroke. For the first time in weeks, she looked genuinely rattled. "What are you talking about?" I stepped into the room, my voice steady even though my insides were on fire. "Don't play dumb, Sam. I saw the texts. I know it's Eric. My friend. My brother. The guy who's eaten at our table 100 times." She blinked fast, then tried to recover. "Oh my God, Mark. You're insane. Eric and I are just close, that's all. He's been confiding in me, and you're twisting it into something dirty because you're jealous." I laughed. I actually laughed, but it sounded more like a snarl. "Confiding in you? He told you he can't stop thinking about you. You kissed him in his car. Don't stand there and insult my intelligence." Her face hardened. She slammed the mascara down and spat, "Fine. Yes, it's Eric. And honestly, he makes me feel things you never did. He listens. He's exciting. He doesn't drag me down like you do." Hearing those words from her mouth, admitting it with no shame, it was like she ripped my chest open and poured acid inside. The moment she said it, out loud, with that venom in her voice, my legs nearly gave out. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the floor, trying to breathe while my wife stood there unapologetic, almost smug. I thought about every holiday we'd spent together. Every promise we made. Every time Eric had clapped me on the back and called me brother. And now, those two were tearing my life apart like it was a joke. I asked her, voice shaking, "Did you ever even love me? Or was this all just convenience until something better came along?" She didn't even hesitate. "Of course I love you. But people change, Mark. I changed. You stayed the same. And honestly, I outgrew you." Those words hollowed me out. I felt like I wasn't even a person anymore, just a placeholder until she found her thrill. I locked myself in the guest room that night. I didn't eat, didn't sleep. Just lay there with the crushing weight of betrayal pressing down on my chest. Part of me wanted to fight for us, but another part knew there was nothing left to fight for. By morning, something inside me had shifted. The pain was still there, sharp, raw, but beneath it, a strange clarity settled in. I looked at her across the breakfast table, scrolling on her phone like nothing was wrong, and I knew this marriage was dead. I didn't yell. I didn't beg. I just said, "I'm done, Samantha. I'll call a lawyer this week." Her head jerked up, eyes wide, like she hadn't expected me to actually walk away. "You're overreacting," she hissed. "You're really going to throw everything away over a fling?" I almost laughed. "You threw everything away the second you brought Eric into this. Don't you dare pin this on me." She went quiet then. For the first time in weeks, she had no comeback. No smirk. Just silence. Maybe she thought I'd cave. Maybe she thought I'd forgive her eventually. But I could see in her eyes, she knew I meant it. I packed a bag that night and went to stay with my brother. Every step out that door hurt like hell, but it was also the first step toward taking my life back. It's been a few weeks since I left, and the silence in my life is deafening, but it's also healing. I keep replaying those last few months in my head, and I've realized something important. Samantha's silence wasn't guilt. It was control. She knew I was watching, knew I was breaking, and she thrived on it. That's why she lied so easily, smirked so coldly, because every second I doubted myself, she felt powerful. She's still watching me now, in her own way. I see it in the random texts she sends, little breadcrumbs like "hope you're okay" or "we should talk." But here's why she's silent, because she wants me to chase, to crawl back, to beg. That silence is her game, her way of holding on to some piece of me while she keeps living in the mess she created. But I'm not playing anymore. To anyone reading this who feels that gnawing in your gut, that quiet voice whispering that something's wrong, listen to it. Don't ignore the signs, don't let the lies pile up until they bury you. Because once someone shows you they don't respect you, that silence isn't peace. It's poison. I've learned that love without trust isn't love at all. And if they're silent while you're breaking, it's because they're still watching you, waiting to see how much more you'll take. Don't give them that satisfaction.